Just a little side note, they're not meant to be flashing, but it looks like lightning, so I'm going to keep it. So if these are strobing in the background, never mind, don't worry. I don't know what's wrong with them, but I like the aesthetic they're going with. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this is another part of our series of Hollieween, where I'm going to be doing videos throughout October which are all based around Halloween, and this video is going to be based around books to read around Halloween time to get you excited and in that mood. I've got a lovely combination of quite a few things that I think you guys might be interested in as something to read around that time, so I'll just get stuck straight on in. So like with basically me any time of the year, I love a good thriller, and it's like the perfect time to read it around Halloween, especially when it's really good mystery, really good gripping, and a shocking ending. Those I am really adoring, and I've been adoring ever since I've discovered them. There are two here that I've been really, well, one of them I've read, one of them I haven't. I'll talk about the one I've read first, which is Before I Go to Sleep by S.J Watson. This was one of the first thrillers I ever read, and because there was so much buzz about this, I wanted to give it a go. I've also seen the movie on this, and I love them both equally. I think they did very good in terms of bringing it to life into a movie. And basically, how can I explain this? That Christine, she is in, I would say she's in her late 30s, and she wakes up every day not knowing who she is, why she's there, what has happened in the past. And it's basically because a tragic event that has happened that's led her to have memory loss, and it's all about her struggle of trying to figure out what happened, what have I been kept from, is her husband keeping something from her he shouldn't be. And it's a really good thriller. I would say it's a really good one, and it's set in England, which not many thrillers are these days, so it was really nice to see one in England as well. This one I haven't read yet, but a lot of people are talking about The Couple Next Door. Basically a new couple move in next door, of course, and they ask them around. Sorry, my camera clipped out. So they go to a dinner of their new neighbours, and while they're consequently at this dinner, their child at home goes missing, which sounds really intriguing as to, was the dinner set up in order to get the child, or is there something bigger behind it? So that looks like a really good one if you're wanting a twist and turny kind of book for Halloween. I also have this one, which I have not read yet, but I think it'll be a very good one as well, which is called Eeny, Meeny, which is basically like a detective book of sorts. So there is a pattern emerging in between a serial killer where he abducts his victims, imprisons them, and they're faced with a terrible choice of kill or be killed. So it's got a bit of a Saw vibe to it, even though I haven't seen Saw, but it sounds very intriguing as if the detective can get to the bottom of it. So if you're into a detective type of book, this sounds like a really intriguing one. And I never knew that they did this, and I'm so excited they do, and I used to really enjoy these when I read them. And I'm going to be doing a video for this Halloween based around this particular TV show because it is turned 20 years, which is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I adore that show. It is such a cult classic of the 90s, and they actually do books based on the series, which I love. Like, I don't know if there's more than 3, but they like have 3 stories within one format. So see, there's 2 other books there, so it's definitely based after the hit series, and it follows the same kind of people just in book form, which I adore. And they're so good. Like, different writers do each story, but it's amazing. If you're a really fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and anything in terms of fighting demons, so to speak, this would be an amazing one to look for. I think I got these from W.H. Smith's. I believe so, yes. Okay. And then, keeping with the young adult kind of, well, new adult I would say these are, keeping with the new adult theme, we now go on to shapeshifters slash werewolves, and this is called The Dark Devine by Bree Despain, and it is like a trilogy, and I adored this book the first time I read it, and then I just recently reread it and loved it even more. It is it's very dark actually for a new adult book, I would say, but it's based around a preacher's daughter who has this persona of being perfect, and a boy next door. He did leave when they were younger, but has recently come back, and he's hiding a secret, and there is a murderer going around town, and they're trying to frame a certain person, and it's such a good book. Honestly, don't be put off with it saying it's a preacher's daughter, because it's kind of like going against the persona of being like a black sheep, and it's got such lovely family values within it as well as an amazing romance, and it's very edge on your seat drama. It's like, I would love this to be made into a movie, absolutely would love that. We then have one that has been made into the movie called The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. This is an amazing story. If you have not seen the movie or read the book, you need to read it this October. It's set around fall in 1973, and basically this young girl, she's around 14 I believe, and she was murdered, and what makes this very intriguing is it's someone in her neighbourhood that has done it, and she's watching from above other family living through what life would be like without her, and they cope with their terrible loss, they grow up and they fall in love, do things that she never had a chance to do herself. It's a very heartbreaking book. It's not for the faint-hearted, and you're kind of wanting to see if the murderer gets their comeuppance as well. The movie of this was amazing. Peter Jackson directed it, and it was so visually beautiful as well. It's one of my favourite movies, and it is truly a different spin on any type of young adult book that I've read of, and it's such an amazing message within it as well. It's truly an amazing book, and with it being set around that time as well, it's pretty amazing. And then we have a classic. I cannot talk about Halloween books without adding a classic, and that is Jaws by Peter Benchley, which is the all-time favourite classic movie, and the book is just as amazing. This is such an old book. This was 70p when my Nana and Gwendy got it. 70p. So it's a really old edition. And honestly, it's just a timeless book. Like, I adore the story. And this was printed in 1974. This book came out in 1974. That's crazy. And it's just a timeless classic, and it has just as much suspense in the book as it does in the movie, and it's truly the most amazing, you can't get anything more classic for Halloween than a shark story. And especially if you're so brave enough to go see 47 Meters Down, which I believe is at the cinema now, which follows the same kind, well, not the same premise, but surrounded by a shark. It's just as amazing if you are wanting to go see a movie around that time. And so it's a spine-chilling bestseller that one man against a giant killer and a town that won't face the truth. Basically sums it up if you have not heard of it, which I'm sure you have, but just for those that might not have heard of it. We then have, this is such a cute book series, because my auntie introduced these to me, and apparently they were really big at her when she was younger. It was kind of like the Goosebumps of her era, and I never read Goosebumps before, but when she introduced me to these, oh my god, I adored them. And they're called Point Horror books. So basically there are really short, nitty-gritty stories based around horror. I know they did Point Romance too, which says they wasn't as good as the horror ones, of course, but They are truly so nice. If you just want something that is so quick, so easy, but is a little bit spooky, these are really good for that. Honestly, you can buy these on eBay as cheap as chips. Like, you buy them just as separate like this, which this one is Beach Party. So I'll give you a little synopsis of one story. So it says, Karen invites her friend Anne-Marie to stay at her dad's apartment overlooking the beach for summer, enjoying the sun, sea and sand. The fun starts for Karen when she meets two new guys. Which one should she choose? Jerry, who is so handsome, or Vince, so deliciously dangerous? The party turns nasty when the threats start. Someone wants Karen to stay away from Jerry at all costs, and if she gets too close, they're prepared to kill. So they're like a little bit cheesy, but in a good way cheesy, honestly. And then you can get ones that are like 3 stories in one. So this one has My Secret Admirer, The Accident and Funhouse. So these stories are just amazing, little bit of horror that you can read just in a couple of, maybe very quickly, like super quickly, and I adore them. I really want to read some more, and the covers on these are so beautiful as well. There's ones called The Babysitter, The Cheerleader. It's like really stereotypical, but based for new adults, young adults. So they're really cute to read around Halloween. I adore them. We then have a really interesting story. I've not read this yet, but I am so excited. I'm going to read this month. And it has been voted the best YA of 2016, this book. And it's called 30 Minutes by Sarah Pinbrough. And the thing that got me with this, I didn't even have to read the synopsis. I just had to read this quote here from the Times that says it's Mean Girls for the Instagram age, which really intrigued me because huge fan of Mean Girls, and with it saying it's associated with death, I was really intrigued because I wanted to know what could this be about. It does, I will mention this because just in case, it says not for younger readers at the back, so it could be one for not for the faint-hearted. With not reading it, I don't know how bad it could get, but basically this girl, she fell into an icy lake, but she didn't know if it was an accident or somebody pushed her. They say you should keep your friends close and your enemies closer, but sometimes it's hard to tell them apart. My friends love me, I know they do, but that doesn't mean they didn't try to kill me. So it's a gripping murder mystery about people, fears and manipulation and the power of the truth. A stunning read, it questions our relationships and what we really know about the people closest to us. So it sounds really intriguing and a good one to escape for a while and figure out that people's closest to you might be up to something that you might want to know about. So yeah, this is a very interesting one. If you're into Mean Girls, I think that would be very intriguing. I have just started Gwendy's Button Box, which is Stephen King and Richard Chizmar, and really enjoying it. This one centres around a 12-year-old girl which one day receives a box from a gentleman which she finds, well, anyone would find it really curious and odd, but there's something within this box that I think has a sinister notion behind it, and as well as the man that is giving it to her. So I've enjoyed it so far. I got this in my Nocturnals readers box and really enjoying it so far. Any Stephen King book you cannot go wrong with. I know some people have different opinions, but like the cult classics such as Carrie, The Shining, Pet Sematary, all amazing. So definitely check out some of them if you haven't already as well. And if you're looking for a vampire series which people adore, they still adore it, like Twilight opened up the doors and it's still going strong. And if you're wanting like a series, I adore this series so much, and it is the Morganville vampire series. I have loved this since I was definitely in high school, and I would literally, on days when I wasn't at school, stay up all night reading this because it was so, it kept you on the edge of your seat. It had the most amazing baddies in it, because it follows the same people throughout. I believe there's 16 books. I think it's still going strong. 16 books, but it follows the same people as they go through their daily lives in a town which is run by vampires, which isn't going to go very smoothly, is it? But if I was to go into this so much, it would take me all day. But honestly, if you're looking for a really tongue-in-cheek new adult vampire series, this is definitely one to check out. I believe it could have finished by now, but I'm not too sure, because even though I do you know when you suddenly stop something and you think, why did I stop reading that? Because it was awesome. That kind of happened to me around the 7th or 8th book, but that doesn't mean that I didn't love it just as much. I would honestly want to pick it up again and have a good read, and it is honestly a really, really good series. I think you guys would love it. I was hoping, there was rumours at one time they were going to make it into a TV series, but it hasn't been done yet. But honestly, super, super good. So they're all the books I've got for my books to read around Halloween. They were a bit of a combination of a young adult, new adult, thrillers, and I really hope if you have heard of them or want to read them, I'd love to hear your thoughts on them and let me know what you think. So I really hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!